Iran wasn't ever a religious state, so to say. It was always somewhat of a secular state. People lived amongst each other,
Right.
different faiths, different ethnicities,
Yeah.
You look at the country itself, there's Baluch, there's Azeris, there's Tajiks, there's Pars, Bakhtiaris, Lurs, all kinds of people. Yeah, and I can sit there and try to go through and name you every one of them, but as a whole, everyone identified as a unified nationality of Iranian.
Right.
So it wasn't until 1979 where it almost took a different identity.
Right.
Okay. And which kind of catapulted the region into what we're seeing today with the proxy elements and things like that. So for people out in the West, for people, especially in the United States, when you hear Iran's doing this, you have to be kind of careful, because there's a lot of Iranians who live in the United States who don't agree with what's going on.
Right.
Because Iranians don't necessarily have that tribal loyalty, right? Because Iranians don't see themselves as tribal, right? They're more nationalistic, if that makes sense. And I'm trying to kind of simplify it as if you are an American overseas, you look at yourself as an American. You don't look at yourself as, I'm Mexican American, or I'm African American, or I'm, German American, or I'm Indian American, or you know what I'm saying? You're just looking at yourself as an American. You don't look at yourself, say, I'm Catholic American, or I'm Baptist American, or I'm, atheist American. You're just American.
Right.
And that's how most Iranians look at themselves.
Yeah.
So that's first things to get out of the way. Second thing is the government itself doesn't represent how the population of Iran views the West.
Right.
Right. Because before the revolution, Iran was essentially like the Paris of the Middle East.
Yeah.
Just like Beirut was.
Yeah.
Right. So it almost like over a period of 45 years, it went backwards.
Right.
Now
you've mentioned a couple times prior to 1979. So I think we touched on this a little bit the last time you were there, but you actually grew up in Iran.
I did.
And so you were there as a young child prior to the revolution.
Correct.
And then after the revolution. Tell me, what was the difference in like daily life pre-1979 and after the revolution? Like just your day-to-day like operations. You go to school, you do this, you do that prior to, and then after.